Facing anxiety and overcoming difficulties has always been a constant struggle in my life. I used to magnify my problems, getting stuck in thoughts about situations I couldn't control, which only made things worse. And I had a knack for making everything even more challenging. But when a friend introduced me to Stoicism and lent me a book, I decided to give it a try. I began to explore this philosophy and committed to practicing Stoic principles and habits for a week to see if changing my mindset could impact my life, bring more happiness, and strengthen my mental resilience. What unfolded over the week completely shifted my mindset, transforming my perspective and broadening my vision, which was previously narrow in some aspects. I gained confidence to confront anxiety, face frustrations with clarity, and effectively deal with problems and challenges. Gradually, I replaced heavy emotions like insecurity, anxiety, helplessness, and abandonment with feelings of tranquility and thoughts of clarity. This transformation occurred because I started incorporating small daily exercises focused on objectivity, logic, and self-improvement, embracing a Stoic outlook each day. I began approaching every aspect of my life as a Stoic would. I asked myself, how would Marcus Aurelius act in this situation? What would Epictetus say about this? How would Seneca react? Viewing obstacles this way helped me turn worry into proactive responsibility. I shifted my focus towards developing my character, seeking more wisdom and knowledge. Instead of dwelling on the myriad problems and situations that used to occupy my mind all day, I began to value building a solid foundation for my character. So in this video, I will explain what Stoicism is and the key attitudes to adopt, along with the exercises you need to practice. However, I invite you not just to watch until the end, but to commit to applying these Stoic habits in your life for the next 7 days. But before we continue, I want to ask you to comment. Which city are you watching from, and 7 days Stoic? This simple declaration is a powerful step of courage to break through any anxiety, addiction, or difficulty that may be affecting your life. Truly commit to this transformation, as I did. Also, take a moment to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, and activate the notification bell. It's a simple action that makes a significant difference for us. What is Stoicism, and why should we follow its principles? Stoicism originated in Greece 3 centuries before Christ with Zeno, a wealthy navigator who lost his fortune in a shipwreck. In response to this adversity, he began studying the great philosophers and eventually established his own school. Stoicism was practiced by both the rich and the poor, the powerful and those striving for a good life. The goal of Stoicism was to promote virtue and happiness through stability in the face of adversity. Stoics viewed philosophy as a journey in search of wisdom, defined as the knowledge of divine and human things. This knowledge comprised 3 parts: logic, physics, and ethics. For Stoics, logic served as a guide to understanding the world, involving a simple 4-step process, starting with the senses, which gather information, then the mind evaluating whether this information was true, reflecting upon it. Subsequently, reason confirmed the truth, leading to a personal conviction verified by experience and human consensus, resulting in solid and reliable knowledge of reality. It was as if they used logic as a special tool for a profound understanding of the world. Physics, to Stoics, was the fundamental explanation for the beginning of the universe, maintaining that all forms of existence derived from an omnipresent presence, arguing that God was present in all creation. As for ethics, it centered on the pursuit of happiness as the supreme goal. Stoics taught that achieving happiness meant living in harmony with nature, following its principles. This ethical approach involved adopting conduct aligned with the natural order of things, promoting virtues, and acting virtuously. In summary, for Stoics, ethics consisted of finding happiness through conformity with natural standards. Stoics developed the ability to overcome harmful emotions and act with wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation. They could control their own perceptions and judgments, rather than unsuccessfully trying to control external events. Their happiness, peace, and tranquility were not dependent on anything external, not conditioned by people, things, or external circumstances, I used to be completely vulnerable to irrational anxiety. Even the slightest mishap, a minor setback, or unforeseen circumstance would send me into a spiral of panic and insecurity. I hoped that adopting Stoic practices could help me break this habit of panicking. By improving my ability to face challenges with calmness and objectivity, I also aim to become more present for my family and my few friends. The key attitudes to be adopted in advance. Embracing such a significant transformation, like a total shift in perspective, requires determination and will from the very beginning. First and foremost, I focused on cultivating an objective view of everything that happened to me, relying on facts and logic, prioritizing reason over fleeting emotions like anger, insecurity, and fear. In everyday situations, such as at work, for example, I had to deal with an ongoing project where the client requested the final delivery within the same week, despite previously agreed upon deadlines in the contract. We faced the risk of losing the client if we couldn't meet the new date. I sought to think before reacting, carefully examining the situation and the team's possibilities to meet the new deadline. I conducted a comprehensive mapping of the work, identifying what we had already completed, what we had not yet started, and what was in progress, as well as establishing new activities for the team I was coordinating. Previously, I would probably have succumbed to anxiety, transmitting that feeling to the entire team and consequently compromising the project. A Stoic logically analyzes the real risks before reacting, thus avoiding excessive anxiety and panic. Secondly, I embrace the Stoic perspective that sees struggles as opportunities to cultivate virtues such as perseverance, creativity, and balance. Viewing this project anticipation as an opportunity to demonstrate integrity, assessing options with serenity instead of giving in to anger, complaints, and frustrations is a valuable practice. Moreover, what truly made a difference and is most crucial was building a resilient mental strength. Stoics prepare for disturbances and discomfort instead of imagining that life will always be easy, like Alice in Wonderland. Whether facing illnesses, dealing with chaotic traffic, or disagreements with loved ones, having peace of mind helps me endure and confront life's challenges with calmness and good cheer. Pay attention to your impressions. First impressions are the thoughts or automatic reactions that arise when we encounter people, events, or situations. It's like our instinctive response to everything happening around us. For Stoics, it is crucial to carefully examine these impressions. Let's imagine a situation. I was eager for a promotion at work and applied for a new position as a project manager. Unfortunately, I didn't get it. I was rejected. I could easily feel useless and like a failure, recalling every instance in life where I didn't succeed, with beliefs of rejection constantly playing in my head. However, these impressions turn the situation into a major catastrophe rather than what it truly is, a disappointment. Stoics aim to perceive these impressions as they arise, postponing judgment to assess whether they are accurate or exaggerated. This brief pause helps separate emotions from facts, providing clarity to respond calmly instead of impulsively reacting with negative and destructive emotions. When I was rejected for the new position, the promotion meant a lot to me, so I felt devastated. However, thinking rationally, I could realize that whether I was promoted or not did not determine my worth. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, a stone is thrown into the air, it loses nothing by coming down, gains nothing by going up. In other words, I am still myself with or without a promotion. Certainly in today's corporate world, various factors determine who will get a promotion. So, rationally thinking, I couldn't measure my worth by that. I patiently waited for my boss to provide feedback on areas I could improve, aiming to enhance myself for the next opportunity. Distinguish between what you can and cannot control. The Stoics introduced the dichotomy of control, explaining that certain aspects of life can be directly controlled, while others are beyond our domain. For example, health is under my control. How well or poorly I take care of my health is something I can manage. However, I have no control over getting sick or catching a cold. Another example is money. It's under my control how I spend it. Whether I have financial organization or spend impulsively, both decisions are choices I have complete control over. Yet I have no control over inflation, the price of gasoline, or if products become more expensive in the market each month, just like the value of stocks in the financial market. The same holds true for myself. It's under my control to act with integrity, be honest, and maintain my character. However, other people's opinions about me remain outside of my control. In a situation where I felt belittled by friends I trusted, instead of venting about their lack of consideration, I directed my energy towards establishing new connections. I began to act based on Stoic principles and realized empoweringly that I have much more control than I imagined. I can manage my time better, think before speaking, and find solutions instead of just becoming anxious and complaining about everything. Instead of dwelling on the situation repeatedly in my head, repeating the cycle of suffering, a habit that used to consume all my energy, thinking like a Stoic brought not only tangible progress, but, most importantly, a transformation in my mental attitude. Overcome the negative perspective. Considering the worst-case scenario helps put things into perspective and can make a challenging situation seem more manageable. The Stoics referred to this exercise as negative visualization. The idea is to anticipate difficulties by imagining scenarios, preparing for what could go wrong, and knowing how to handle it. However, individuals prone to anxiety, like myself, often tend to engage in this negative visualization exercise catastrophically, panicking and thinking for hours on end that everything will go wrong, completely consumed by anxiety, for instance. For the Stoics, negative visualization wasn't a constant exercise, but rather a practice dedicated to a specific moment. By visualizing potential adversities, we gain clarity on 2 points. First, we see that in the majority of situations, our initial problems were greatly exaggerated by our emotions. Second, we become aware of realities and prepare to face them. For example, when buying a car, the first logical thing we do is get insurance, because we know the high rate of car thefts and the lack of security. We don't get insurance expecting to be robbed or have our car stolen or wishing for that to happen. But we prepare in case something happens. The same goes for negative visualization. Thinking of an outcome that is not so favorable mentally prepares us to resist and cope with the situation if it does happen. Contemplating the loss of my income makes me realize that budgeting and carefully tracking my expenses and earnings aren't tedious and boring, but essential for me to learn to control my finances. Imagining some form of illness in old age motivates me to seek health now and start taking better care of my body while I have the power of choice. Facing these worst-case scenarios in my mind periodically builds readiness to act wisely. We often deny certain truths in our lives, easily falling into superficial positivity, but denying our truths doesn't make them disappear. It makes us vulnerable to adversities. Practice voluntary discomfort. How do you develop your muscles in the gym? By going every day and executing your workout, right? So, how do you develop your mental resilience? The Stoics have the answer: voluntary discomfort. In this week of Stoic habits, I learned the practice of voluntary discomfort. These are Stoic exercises of self-imposed discomfort to increase our tolerance, aiming to strengthen the ability to deal with difficulties and, above all, to develop a more genuine sense of appreciation and gratitude for our current life situation. The idea was never punishment, but empowerment. The goal is not to make life harder, but to elevate your level of resilience, what you can or will endure with tranquility. By voluntarily subjecting themselves to discomfort, Stoic practitioners not only face physical or emotional challenges, but also develop a resilient mindset and genuine gratitude for what they have. I learned to incorporate challenges and uncomfortable situations into my routine to train my mind and elevate my coping level. In doing so, I realized that the rest of my life became easier. Why should you start applying this exercise in your life to gain mental resilience? Just like muscles, your mind also needs training for endurance. A clear example we see in today's world is people panicking when something goes wrong. By willingly facing voluntary difficulties, you are better mentally prepared. You can remain intact when others easily break down. Reflect on your interconnection. Our culture today strongly values individualism, and although we are connected, many of us are becoming less present within the environments we share. The Stoics share a belief in the interconnection among human beings, seeing everyone as members of a larger community. They even coined the term cosmopolitan, meaning a citizen of the world. From this perspective, each of us plays an essential role in the world, and the actions of one person not only affect but also influence everyone around them. The Stoics emphasize the importance of acting ethically and responsibly, considering the collective well-being. Remembering that my actions impact the lives of other people makes defending virtue seem meaningful, not weak. Another point is that the Stoics also see an interconnection between the mind and the body. They believe that the mind and body are inseparable parts of a person, and the well-being of one affects the well-being of the other. In this, I understood that taking care of the mind is equally important as taking care of my body. Just as I learned to practice mental self-control, I started to change my eating habits and exercise. Interconnection is a fundamental idea in Stoicism that reminds us of our interdependence with the world around us. This means recognizing that our actions have consequences, and we are connected to everything around us. We should learn from the past, live fully in the present, and prepare for the future. Interconnection in Stoicism is a powerful tool to promote peace and serenity, ensuring that every act of kindness is not wasted, but instead plants seeds of peace and moderation in the lives of those we touch. Focus on virtue and character. The Stoics measure wisdom not by how talented or esteemed someone becomes, but by the consistency of their character. The exclusive pursuit of fame or achievements alone often breeds short-term thoughts and vices. I stopped criticizing myself all the time for having fewer followers or views on my stories than some colleagues. Neither guarantees acting with kindness and courage when life gets complicated. Instead, I focused on self-improvement goals based on practicing patience, honesty, and generosity. When we become better individuals, people of great character, we naturally find more satisfaction in our lives and automatically contribute to the environments we share. We all have an ideal version of ourselves in our heads. This version eats better, has better financial organization, exercises more, is a bit more patient, can be more dedicated and less of a procrastinator, and certainly is more present in life. To start acting in this way, simply ask yourself, what would your best self do? Or how would your best self decide? For example, would my best self watch pornography? Would my best self hit the snooze button 5 times in a row? Would my best self drink another glass? For instance, would my best self choose a boiled egg for a snack or a soda? Would my best self call my parents a little more often? Would my best self yell at the unknown guy who cut me off in traffic? Would my best self read a book or play on the phone? Would my best self have a date night with my spouse or spend another night without talking and watching TV on the couch? These questions are so simple to ask, but remarkably powerful. The fruits of this life are good character and acts for the common good. Marcus Aurelius. Maintain an objective perspective. The final Stoic habit involves maintaining an objective perspective about oneself and events, unaffected by victimhood, self-pity, or vanity. In other words, neither placing oneself above nor below, but seeing oneself as one truly is. I found that practicing meditation or journaling helps me analyze circumstances consistently and logically before reacting. As I write in a journal at the end of each day, documenting the feelings I experienced and how I responded to specific situations, I can explore whether those situations triggered anger, fear, or insecurity. By describing my reaction, I evaluate whether I succumbed to initial impressions or objectively analyzed each situation before responding. This reflective process is crucial for maintaining mental clarity and avoiding impulsive reactions. When I feel overwhelmed, I regain my mental balance by questioning the advice I would give to a friend facing the same problems. Visualizing my life as if it belonged to an impartial stranger removes distorted emotions and allows me to find reasonable solutions that I would likely suggest to others. This objective approach strengthens my ability to deal with challenges rationally and serenely. Remember, maintaining an objective perspective is not about being indifferent, but about viewing situations without distortion, enabling more effective and thoughtful responses. This practice helps build resilience and cultivates a mindset focused on solutions rather than reactions driven by fleeting emotions. How to continue practicing Stoicism? Embracing Stoicism as deep-rooted principles will take more than just a week, especially in a world filled with constant stimuli competing for our attention. Nevertheless, I've noticed that even the basic practices have significantly improved my mindset, relationships, and mental strength. Instead of mindlessly starting my day, I dedicate 5 to 10 minutes to sincere and impartial self-reflection upon waking up. I visualize my challenges throughout the day, both anticipated and unexpected, contributing to my resilience, productivity, and serenity. Understanding the dichotomy of control doesn't mean we immediately stop caring about what we can't control. Patience with oneself in this process is crucial. It means our initial response today, rather than an emotional reaction, will be questioning the emotion. Therefore, persistence and preparedness for setbacks are fundamental, but with stability. Ultimately, the reward for sustained effort is a genuine accomplishment. In just 7 days, taking Stoic teaching seriously has made me unrecognizable to myself in the best possible way. I encourage you, even if you're skeptical like Thomas, to give it an honest try, starting just as I did. There's nothing to lose, but on the contrary, a lot to gain. Thank you for watching.